We got to drop the engine. No, we don't drop engines, do we? We're going to lift it, hoist it, and then lower it onto the pallet because we have to attach torque converter and transmission to the engine. So we're going to hook it up, and then we're going to lower it onto the pallet, and then start assembly of the engine, transmission, PTU, torque converter, and the exhaust and cat, and get this engine ready to put into Herbie right there. All right, folks, this comes with the new engine. So does the seal. We got a brand new seal. Now we got to put, and this is of course your hall sensor for your crankshaft position sensor. You can access it through a little panel right here through the back of the engine, as you can see, right next to the torque converter or the catalytic converter. Now you do have to put this in a certain way. It only fits one way. You see that? Watch this. There you go. It seats in only one way, and all the holes line up. Then you put your flex plate. This is the inside. This is the outside. It won't fit any other way. And then we go ahead and put that on there. Now here's the deal. The pattern they got cut on this only sits one way, and that is it. They got the mark down at the bottom. So for the bolts and everything to line up, it only lines up one way. You can spin it and not all the bolts will line up. Rather unique way they got it set up. So anyway, when you go to put that flex plate on, pay attention to the mark they got on it, and then pay attention to the holes, because if you don't, you're going to mess something up. So you want to make sure all the holes line up. So just keep spinning the flex plate until you get all the holes to line up exactly like we have now. And thankfully they got a little mark that goes to the bottom, and that sort of helps figure out the orientation of the engine. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and torque these up and start mounting this flex plate so we can install the torque converter. All right, torquing them down. We're just going to snug them up because remarkably these are not a torque to yield or anything. They just go 59 foot-pounds and that's it. So apparently it's a team effort over here on the crank. But we'll get her done. Just snugging them up.
Okay.
Because 59 foot-pounds is not a lot.
Okay, we're ready to
now we're going
to
start the sequence.
59 foot-pounds. Stand up. Okay, holding?
Okay, do I have to push up or do you have to push it down?
You'll know.
You'll know. Just try and keep it where it's at.
Almost there. You're probably going to have to go back. There you go. Now go down to the very bottom.
Here's another one.
Now number 3 is at the 9 o'clock position.
Yes.
Number 4 is at 3 o'clock position.
Wow, it move over here. We feel the move over here.
Number 5 is right above it.
Here?
Yep.
Go down.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And number 6 is opposite of it.
It's like it falling in place.
Number 7 is over right 2 places.
What's that hole?
And number 8 is opposite of it.
Oh, this is more hard. Oh. This one too.
There we go.
Got her?
Yeah.
Now keep holding. I'm just going to do a quick test of all of them.
We're going to double check and we'll be back with y'all. So
nothing. Oh, I see. That doesn't move. There's a bearing in here that spins. So this fits in that cavity, but doesn't do anything. Right?
yeah,
Doesn't spin. Doesn't. I think that'd be a nice thing to put some assembly lube on, though.
don't we want to put a little transmission fluid in? That torque converter? Or?
Figure it out. Why not?
Thing ain't light, that's for sure.
Seal back there. I don't want to mess with it. Golly, these things just surprise me how heavy they are.
It has transmission fluid in it.
It does. Okay. Well, I should have known. It was leaked all over the case.
So, what do we want to do? Leave that on there and
Just leave it
mount the
alone?
whole thing?
Sure.
I think that would probably be, because we can put that whole thing on there, then mount the torque converter by turning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why don't we just do that then?
Hey, Ruth, would you? Oh, I think I'm gonna plug up that assembly lube jar. I'd love to put some on the front of this thing. Just going to slide in there,
Yeah,
and I don't want to put this back.
slide that back on.
I just don't hit the seal. Just sit there. There, okay.
So it's already pre-filled.
Yeah, it was good.
Put a little assembly lube on the little shaft here, just so we can help ourselves when we mount it in here. What we're going to do is leave this torque converter on here. It apparently is filled. We didn't know that, so we're just going to go with it. Put it back on, and then mate the transmission up to it, and then spin the crank till we get the bolts lined up. Well, you can never use enough lube.
Yeah.
Assembly lube, I should say.
They're not a sponsor. They should be.
Assembly goo. But we're hedging our bets. That's all we're doing.
Yep. This is totally approved for transmissions.
If it's not, we're using it anyway. It might be approved for PTUs too, right?
Should be.
So that PTU gear should probably have some in it too. That way we don't have to worry about it when we get it all in there.
I imagine there's plenty of lube around that seal, but. Okay.
You want to put some on that right now?
Yes. I was going to say
Just
the
to
same
save
thing.
time? Just to save
We
time?
both have the same thinking.
Meaning you won't forget?
Yeah.
Yes.
That way when we slide it in there, we
It's
can just
already
slide it in.
No, that's a great idea.
Yep.
There.
Yes, done.
Life is grand. Now we got to figure out how to put this over there.
You see that?
Let me go have a bowl of Wheaties here real quick.
Yeah.
All right, note to self. Transmission mounting part 2. We thought we had a problem with a bolt, but it turns out we were trying to shove a bolt through this hole right here. And it turns out that's where the guide is. So we pulled the whole transmission apart trying to figure out why we couldn't get the bolt in. And it turns out that that was the problem. So now we're going to remount and mark all the bolt holes, because there's 6 of them that we have to put in. That's the guide post. So we have to put 6 of them in. We're marking them all. And they go all the way down. So, and you got the same problem on this side. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they put a hole all the way through it, and we were thinking it was a bolt hole. And it wasn't. It was the guides. So now we're hoping that since we've already practiced putting it together once, that the second time won't be so hard.
I learned more.
Got it done, folks. We are getting so close to taking and mating this engine up with the PTU, the bracket, the intermediary drive shaft, and we're going to drop it into old Herbie. We got a few touch-up things we're going to do. And maybe Jeff and I will put the lower intake on and bolt it down and torque it up. That way it's already on there. It won't be in the way when we put things together. It just means one less thing to do at that point. So maybe we'll go ahead and get that on there. We'll wait and see what we want to do, because we have to make sure we do everything in order. So, but we can't hook that coolant tube up until we get the lower intake plenum mounted up. So we'll have to maybe check and see if we can do that tomorrow, and then go that route. But that's it, folks. That's what a 6F50 transmission in it with a 3.7 liter it looks like. And we're getting there. And just in case you wanted to know, we have the shift strategies right here, and our lovely Ford dealer is going to need those. So now we got them recorded. Everything is here. We're doing a test fit. We got the bracket up there, and we're trying to figure out where all the bolts are, but we've found more of the bolts, so we're slowly getting it down. We still have the bottom transmission bolts that we have to locate. If not, we'll get new ones, but I'm going to clean that bracket up to the PTU. But as you can see, we now have mated the PTU up temporarily to the transmission. Once we get the right bolts that we need and everything going, then we'll start putting the cat on, and exhaust manifold, and any other little parts, intermediate drive shaft, and all that stuff has to go on there. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. So here we go. This is the PTU sticker for this PTU we're putting in old Herbie. We're getting there, folks. We're definitely getting there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put the thermal bypass on. This end goes into this hole right here, and this end goes into that hole right there. And all it does, if I can get it to slide on here, get that end in there, get that in there, and then I have to get this to slide down onto here. So it's not that easy to do this. Maybe my camera assistant will hold the camera steady for me while I try to get this all situated down into the holes. Snap down. And then I just tighten these up. Pretty simple. We'll just tighten this one down for now, just to hold it in place. And then I need a bolt. My assistant's asleep at the wheel here. Then we tighten this one down. Hold that in place. Click. Now I need the other bolt. This one's threaded down by hand. And these little levers here will, of course, hold and compress the fittings. And then I torque the spec. Click, and we are done. We'll go ahead and tighten this one up here.
I can't find any bolts. I
Can't find any bumps.
You can't find any more that aren't just nicks in the van.
Well, keep looking. There's got to be plenty. She's clay barring the hood. There we go. That is your thermal bypass, folks. Brand new one on there. Just in case y'all wanted to know the part number, right there it is. DT4Z 7R081-A for this transmission. Pretty simple. Now you got a thermal bypass installed. When you take and send a dead transmission back to the place you bought it, the new one from, for the core charge, what is it, $1,000 for the core charge?
I was thinking it was.
$1,000 right here, folks, even broken. And it will then turn into this. They'll clean her up, refurbish it, and sell it as remanufactured. We just won't tell them that this was for a 3.5 and the other one was for a 3.7.
Yeah.
Well, Herbie's old 6F50 heading out, getting shipped back, get the core charge back, then it'll be out of here. We have more space. Clay barred the hood. Looks good. Check it out. That looks fantastic. You did a good job.
Thank you for watching MACT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Go production.